By coming to terms with the adversary in the first place, this is to say, by getting our thought right immediately concerning any difficulty, we incur no costs and the transaction remains a simple one. Suppose that you find yourself sneezing. If you say, there, now I've caught a cold again and I'm in for it, you're giving the trouble the opportunity to dig itself into you mentally. People don't or often indulge in quite a meditation upon colds. Instead, if at the first moment the possibility of the catching a cold occurs to you, you immediately reject it and affirm the truth, and the whole thing will be over in a short time. Or perhaps upon opening your morning mail, you find a notice informing you that your bank has failed. Many people in such case would saturate themselves with the thought of ruin by rehearsing every kind of a difficulty that might come. However, the proper thing to do immediately upon becoming aware of the news is to turn to God, your real support, and refuse to accept the suggestion of trouble as binding. Literally, drive the thought of loss, fear, resentment out of consciousness. If you do this, working steadily until peace of mind is restored, you will presently find what, in some way or another, the trouble will disappear. Either the bank will speedily recover itself, and there's no reason at all why one person's prayer should not save the bank and the fortunes of thousands, or if this is not possible, you will find your loss equally equalized in some other way. Whatsoever you shall, and this is a quote from Romans chapter 10, whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. And that's from Emmett Fox. Lori Kirstein, in order to give the talk.
Okay, so I just finished being certified in Infinite Possibilities, which is Mike Dooley's training that is centered around thoughts become things. The idea being that what you think is what creates your reality, which he has a 12 CD set that he put out maybe 24, 25 years ago, which started the whole thing. And I always found it, I somehow stumbled across it at that time and found it unbelievably lifting. Every time I would listen to it, I would feel like I was sitting and standing and living in truth. And I couldn't seem to maintain it, but I could, as long as I would listen, I would feel like I was standing and living in the vibrational, emotional lift that I wanted to be living my life from. Last weekend, from Thursday night through Sunday at 4:30, I learned from the inside out how to teach it, how to live it. And as a result, I was able to make a shift from what I used to think 25 years ago and up till very recently, which was, okay, thoughts become things. What does that mean? I have to police my own thoughts? I can't do that. I cannot go from moment to moment going, oh, Lori, don't say it. Don't think that. Think this. Oh, no, Lori, don't do this. Do that. And I thought, there's no way that's not going to help me. I don't understand. And instead, I am at a point, because I've done the work with the 1% solution, which is that of shifting emotionally, sort of digging up the concrete of the things I'm used to thinking over and over and over and over and over for decades, so that as I dig them up, as I start putting grass underneath, suddenly things start to grow. And I suddenly started to hear thoughts become things as, oh my God, I can choose some really good feeling and excellent thoughts and give them some more airtime. I don't have to push any. I just have to give them more airtime. And wow, I'm seeding the life that I want and the quality of life that I want, including those moments when I'm in the shit and I need to heal from that. I'm not going to heal by digging down into it some more. I've done all the digging I ever need to do. There's nothing wrong with me. There is nothing wrong with you. So I have discovered how powerful it is to stand in truth, to speak truth, to noodle around with truth, to feel good just because, and what that can do. So I wrote for you all a rant. I wrote basically a rampage of infinitude, of your infinitude. And so I'm going to read a bunch of stuff that is truths. You are not required to agree, but I think that you will with many of them. And what I invite you to do is to write down any that really make you feel clear and clean, because these are ones that you're going to want to practice. You're going to want to just sort of noodle around with and think on, and the grounding for it is how it makes you feel. That's the grounding. My experience is that in order to live the high truths, we have to define what they are for us and then go about the business of taking baby steps to live them. We need to consider those truths in our heads and in our emotional bodies and let ourselves be like kids going, "Ooh, that's cool. I like that. Wow, that's really neat." And letting ourselves be in that moment without having to be in the next moment of what do I do with that information? No, just let it be. Let it be the truth. You will find amazing things happening, amazing intuitive hits, amazing ideas that come to you. You'll start over a very short period of time feeling excited to explore, excited to be able to go outside of the place that we've all been taught to go for our healing, which is let's look at what's wrong and try to fix it. You'll be excited to understand that that's not where the healing is the most generous. That's not where the healing is the quickest. It's not where the healing is the easiest. So, as I read these to you, there is no right or wrong here, but this is an exploration. And this is for all of us. You are infinite possibilities. You are of God, by God, pure God. You are a spirit who chooses to have an adventure in the body. You did not come here to suffer. You came here to learn to align with your true spirit while in your body. And you also came here to learn to create magic in your own life. Your spirit chose challenges that you wanted to prove to yourself that you could shift. You wanted to prove to yourself, I am that spirit. I am that oneness. I am of God, by God, pure God. And you resonate with truths because you are the living truth. Truth with a capital T is the strongest energetic vibration there is. And because it is both the strongest energy there is, and it is your true identity as a spirit, you cannot ever stop trying to grab it. You cannot ever stop knowing that it is what you are meant to do and be. You can't stop. You get frustrated when you know your true vibrational home is that, but then you keep allowing yourself to align with social untruths. You get frustrated when you see yourself as flawed and when you focus on what's wrong, thinking erroneously that somewhere under all of the horseshit, there really is a pony. You get less frustrated when you use negative emotional states to define what you would rather feel, rather be, rather have and do, and then feel those feelings you would rather feel and practice the vibrational truth of that reality and watch how it shifts you. You get less frustrated when you let yourself find a path of least resistance. You get less frustrated when you stop fighting against something. You get less frustrated when you let some good into the middle of the bad, because it has the power that you do not to shift it. And you get less frustrated when you allow. You suffer to the extent that you focus on what's wrong, instead of also letting into your current experience something that feels even a tiny bit right, something honest, something real, something that touches you, something that you can feel a sense of, even if it's a tiny movement within you. And you are so mighty that you don't even have to lift a finger to begin to set the wheels in motion, because it's your vibration, it's your thoughts, it's your feelings. You can remember how to feel something. I remember how that vacation felt. I remember how being on that beach felt. I remember how it felt to be without pain. I remember. And then define it with the words that move you. You literally are able to be, do, or have anything you want. It's already here vibrationally, all of it. It's already been given. If you judge your future by your past, you become Lot's wife. So don't be salty. Just don't be salty. You are actually able to shift your emotions, and therefore your emotional set point, and therefore what you attract. You literally are the creator of your life. The choice is whether to do it unconsciously or deliberately and consciously, and to figure out what the heck that means and how to do it. But there's so much stuff out there. There's so many ways to do this now. Also, you are literally made of God stuff. You are made of star stuff from the beginning of time. Neil deGrasse Tyson says this: the atoms of our bodies are traceable to stars that manufactured them in their cores and exploded these enriched ingredients across our galaxy billions of years ago. For this reason, we are biologically connected to every other living thing in the world. We are chemically connected to all molecules on Earth. And we are atomically, our atoms. We are atomically connected to all atoms in the universe. We are not figuratively, but literally stardust. What can't you do, be, or have? When will you get more curious about that by 1% than about what it is that made this problem? You actually have the power to seed your future with thought, vision, and imagination. It is so much more fun and a heck of a lot easier and a lot more effective than worry. You can turn on a little tiny light in your consciousness, in your feelings, or your thoughts. And if you then watch for the proof And be willing for it not to look exactly the way you think it should, but be open, allow it. You will see it. Because you are endless. You are infinite. You are magic. And since you are that which is, you can find the answers to anything. Look for the positive investigations. You are already spiritual. You couldn't be more spiritually. I know all of you know this. I've run across people, I know you have too, who say, I just want to be more spiritual. You can't be any more spiritual than you are because you are one with all that is. You are one with the energy. You are one with the godness. You are one with the love, with the wisdom, with the joy, with the magic. You're already worthy. You're already deserving. And because you are of God, by God, pure God, how could it be otherwise? Your job, your only job, and getting to this only job, I know, is a process, but your only job, really, your best, your most fun, your most interesting, fascinating, exciting job is to let it in, align with it, allow it, play with it, noodle around with it. Now, the universe is always working in your favor. I know it doesn't always feel that way. I get it. I really get it. But if it weren't, none of us would be here right now. We've all gone through enough pain that we would have taken a header out of here long since. And we haven't, because things happened. Things happened that helped us. Things happened inside us that made us go, no, I'm going to try again. I'm going to keep going. And that's your core. That's your star stuff. The law of attraction always gives you more of what you focus on. So if you like to work with the mental focus of thoughts become things, think of it this way. If you think something that is more true for you than a negative thought, just 1% more, remember, just tiny, because it has to be something that's true, that isn't like a major step, that doesn't make part of you go, it can't be true. Then the law of attraction will give you more. The magic pill is in your visioning, in which you include your emotional feelings, your imaginings, your thoughts, your joy, your willingness to let yourself feel good, which sometimes can feel like too big a job. But if you can do it in tiny ways and let it grow, you're now living in your God self. Whatever you can dream of, if you take a small step in that direction, you have begun. Your energetic self knows this, so just tell it to your head. You are a slave to nothing and to no one. This is huge. This is huge for me. You are not a slave to anything. There are laws of the universe, so that if we are in some kind of emotional or physical pain, there are energetic paths that it travels, and we may not be able to stop it right away. But if you understand that you are not a slave to it, and that in your putting in something that makes you feel some relief, some ease, some path of least resistance, you are lessening the time of its expanse. You will start to see you are a slave to nothing and to no one. And you can start to create an entirely different reality. There was a woman on death row. I heard this story from Michael Beckwith on a recording. He said there was a woman who was on death row. she got a hold of these principles and she started visioning and practicing the principles of law of attraction. And she did this every single night. And after about 10 years, she actually got out of prison and started on a speaking tour about overcoming difficulties with these spiritual principles. What can't you do? Nothing. There's nothing you can't do. You are launching vibrational situations all the time. Don't think of yourself as limited because you are infinite possibilities. You are a mighty power, and you've been convinced that you are a student graded by God the teacher. It's not true. The only teacher is you. The only teacher is you. You decide on what the lessons are. You decide on what you can use to elevate yourself. And you are so powerful that you can feel something you wish you didn't and actually bring ease to it. That's amazing. That's amazing. You're at least as powerful as an aspirin, and you're way more powerful than that. You are so powerful that you can feel something you wish you didn't and decide to let it continue. It's all up to you. The writer Anne Lamott calls the universe the great universal spirit. So she calls it Gus. The great universal spirit, Gus. Don't neglect your sense of humor. Don't neglect knowing that it's okay. It's okay that we don't know what the hell's going on, that we need to learn what the hell's going on, that we need to start walking into our magnificence in ways that we can experience. It's okay. The fact is, most people have not even heard of the principles that we know. So we are doing really well. You can choose to experience emotionally, mentally, anything at all. You can choose to think anything at all. You can choose to feel anything at all. You are so magnetic. You can believe anything. And that means you don't have to even believe in that's the way it is stuff. You are that powerful. My landlord says to me, young people don't want to work. None of them want to work, so there's nobody to hire. And I'm thinking, you don't understand the power of looking for what you want to see, because it will appear. There's nothing for you to wait for. There's no permission. There's no blessing, because you're already blessed. Every single second of your life, you are blessed forever and into eternity, because you are eternal. You are spirit, and your identity is that of the highest vibrations of love and joy and bliss and compassion and wisdom. So what if you believed that transformation was simpler and easier by far than you have allowed yourself to believe up to now? What will you do when you transform in days or hours instead of years? What kind of party will you throw? What will you do if you know that you are in fact all of these things? Magical, infinite, pure God, able to be, do, and have whatever you desire. What will you do next? What would you like to create? Right now, I'm creating my next job, and I'm creating my speaking and my writing and my teaching. And I'm doing it with vision and feeling what I want to feel and asking for what I want to have. So I'm not asking for the specifics. I'm asking for, I want to feel abundant in every way. I want to feel abundance as me. every day, regardless of the external. I want to feel that every day. I want to have laughter and friendship and love. I want to feel those things. I want to travel the world talking about the truths and how we actually harness them. So, my quality of life has completely changed in over 2 years. When I would be out of a job before, I would go into instant, deep panic and depression. I have some concern, sure, but I am focusing on the magnificence of what I want to feel and be. And I'm knowing it as my identity. I invite you to do the same. And the tools that I'm using are feeling emotions, making choices of my thoughts about certain things and perspectives about certain things. I'm letting myself wonder in a creative way. I wonder if I thought that way, what would that open over here? I'm visioning. I'm dreaming. I'm also taking action, that 1%, that baby step. I want to be an international speaker. My baby step last week was I ordered my birth certificate so I can get my passport. That's my baby step. Another tool, allowing. Because I know I can't do it. I can't force manifestation. I can't go, I want it. No, it doesn't work that way. It's seeing and feeling what you want and then taking a baby step. It's that simple. And also, I'm letting the path of least resistance be my guide. I'm noodling around with it. I'm finding what works to move me forward. So, when you're using the tools, what are you looking for as your proof, as your manifestation, as your feedback that this is actually happening? How about a stranger's smile? How about a sudden inspiration of something like, ooh, I should try this, what to do next? How about a gorgeous tree and you're suddenly feeling it deep within you, that color green? How about love from someone you haven't felt it from in a while? They call you out of the blue. Anything beautifully unexpected and oh so welcomed. The one I always remember from when I was homeless was a bus driver. I was working downtown and I took the bus to and from work. And there was this marvelous bus driver. He was all heart. He sang and he talked as he drove. And he was giving to us. He was loving on us. And he would pull over to pick somebody up. And as he would pull away from the curb, he would call out to all of us, "Here we go, family." There was nothing of the ridiculous in it. It was such love. You are infinite possibilities. So the question is, what baby step do you want to take next to activate your knowing deeper?
Thank you, Lori. That was really good. Does anybody have any comments? Leah?
I like Mike Dooley. I've known him for a few years now, and you can even get him on YouTube, what have you. So, yeah, I like the stories of how he got what he got by visioning. I mean, his mother got him started on it first, but it wasn't called, you know, the envisioning board or this or that, because he'd ask questions. How's come this? She says, well, just imagine, see yourself doing it. Okay. So that's what he did. And it was later in life when he branched out into talking in the CDs and you name it, and Hay House, you can do it, and stuff like that. So, yeah. So I liked your talk. I do like Mike Dooley. He does opens the door for different possibilities. It's just remembering to do it at times. Because sometimes you forget that you could do anything, all possibilities. So thank you, Lori.
Thanks, Leah. And yeah,
Liz?
Thank you, Lori Kay. That was a wonderful talk. Thank you so much. I also enjoy Mike D'Elia in a lot of ways. Gary and I used to look at the information and talk about it a lot. So it's always been very enlightening to me and uplifting. It's very uplifting. It helps get me out of the gutter of negative thinking. So thank you very much for the reminder. That was an excellent talk. Thank you.
thanks, Liz. I just wanted to say about Mike Dooley that when he was 40, the t-shirt business that he and his brother and his mother had started had been really successful for like 10 years. It wound down and just like crashed and burned. So he said he figured at 40 his life he was over. Like he said, I had such a good run, I did so well financially, and I was able to have such a good time. And he said, I got more than a lot of people get. So maybe that's just what my allotment is. And then he started doing the visioning all the way through it, even when he was depressed, even when he was, having all the negative thoughts. And so one of the things he says that I love is that if you just do 5 minutes of visioning, I think he calls it visualization, a day, just 5 minutes, it wipes out the other 23 hours and 55 minutes of worry. And the proof is that he kept going. Like he heard the truth. He knew the truth. He realized his thing was going to be thoughts become things. He knew that was the beginning and ending of everything. That's it. So here he is going out and trying to give talks. Like he goes out to Rotary and he goes out to some other places and he starts talking and just those little baby steps. And then somebody called him and said, we're making a movie called The Secret. You want to be in it? So it's one step, but you have to be in motion for the other energies, the other people, the other possibilities to align with you, to find you. You don't have to be in constant bunny rabbit motion, but you just keep taking those little steps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What I also liked about Mike Dooley is way back when those of us older like me, whatever, not quite as old as me, remember scrapbooks and magazines where you could cut out pictures. So that's what he used to do because he wanted to travel, and he would create a scrapbook, and he'd see a place where a restaurant or something in Saudi Arabia, and he would visualize that picture and, oh, I get to eat there. How would the food taste, and blah blah blah. And things did happen down the road and this and that. Whereas now, try to find a scrapbook. Good luck on that. A magazine, try cutting up a computer to get a picture. So, yeah, certain things have changed, but I like what he said, and it's still true. If you do find a picture, even on the computer, you can print things out and maybe not put in a scrapbook because those things are very hard to find anymore. Because my nephew wanted one for my great niece last year. And I Googled, and it's like, good grief, they don't make scrapbooks like they used to. When you put the physically put a picture of your family or whatever in it, you no longer, just get it off the computer, Aunt Leah. Yeah, right. But anyway, that's kind of like how he started it too. And also, like, he got a job with that one company. He had no clue how to be, was an accountant and everything. He had no clue what he was doing. He knew he was about ready to get fired. And he goes, I'm miserable anyway. And so he visualized not a particular kind of job, but he visualized people going, yay, Mike, we're so glad to see you here. Yay, Mike's here. Oh, isn't this fun? And he'd be smiling. He would visualize that. And so he was this close to being fired. They said, we're going to send you that place. Now, that place was normally a place where people died out. Instead of being fired, we'll ship you off. And it ended up being one of his best adventures, the start of his adventures, going someplace when he was so close to being fired. So, yeah, anything's possible. So, thank you, Lori.
Okay, so Lori Roberts, did you have your hand up?
I did.
Okay.
Thank you, Lori K. That was a wonderful talk. And I'm finding myself in all of these places of what everybody's speaking about, because these are newer things that I'm learning. And what I took away from your talk is when you allow it, you align with it. And I think of, how do I allow it? Well, I allow it by first believing it. I allow it by visualizing it. And one thing that I have been learning is that our words have power. And when we speak our words aloud, we bring life to those words. And I have learned in my visioning process and visualizing that I speak the truth that I know is for my life and for my here and now, my future, my friends, everybody. It's not just for me. I speak these truths out loud. I find ways to praise these things, even though they may not all be here. I know they're there. I can see them. They're just not visual where I can reach out and touch them yet. And I'm finding that visualizing is what allows me to believe, which allows me to allow, which takes me to aligning with it. And it's a wonderful process.
Thank you, Lori Roberts.
Thank you.
So, Lori, I just want to say that this has been really good for me. When you come, you know, we're so strong, and we're magic, and we can do anything. And I feel like something in me goes, what? Nah, we're not Superman. But the 1% thing and the visioning I can get behind, and I've turned my own moods around just by you and I talking, and you talk about how, you, instead of, sometimes it's not visualizing, it's your brain as much as feeling, remembering that feeling and bringing that feeling back, the way, when I walk outside nowadays and I smell honeysuckles, and it just immediately brings me back to my childhood and memories of spring and summer when you're a kid. And sometimes you don't have that smell, but something that you try to remember the feeling, and then that builds. And I like, turning on the light cast out the darkness. You didn't say that this time, but instead of like, oh, I got to figure out why I'm feeling these dark feelings and get them away, just turn on the light or start visualizing something happy and let yourself feel that happiness and then let it build from there. So that's the ways that you've helped me and just to battle in my own anxiety and stuff. So thank you. I guess we just want to say thank you, God, for this great time we had together. And I just pray that we all learn to this week to more fully feel our worth and feel our strength and our power and help us to envision and to use our imagination so that we can uh, turn on and envision the things that are best for us and for the world so that we can bless the world and bless ourselves. So it's we just thank you and love you, and uh, I just ask that you bless everyone here until we see each other again next week. Amen.